I'm going to go over everything you have in your kit. So you should have 3 little pots of paint in white, black, and red. You should have one of these strings, a paintbrush. You'll have glue. Yours will be in a little container, but this is the kind that we're using. It's Aleene's Tacky Glue. You should have a couple of pebbles, one of these twigs, and one of these wood slices. So first you want to decide how you want your finished product to look. So I have 3 birds here. I had an extra stone lying around on my desk for some reason. So you need to decide where your stick's going to go. And if you've got a pen or a pencil, you'll just kind of mark the top of that, because that's where your bird's little feet will go. And now you need to decide how you want your birds to be facing. So I think I'm going to have mine facing this way, just because for this one it's a little more flat on that side, so I'm going to make that the back side. Okay, and at this point you will paint their chests. So this paint will probably need at least 2 coats, maybe 3. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the first coat, and then I'll come back and work on some of the details. I've got my first coat done. The next thing I'm going to do is paint some snow on my twig here. So just use some of your white paint. And dab it on. You can put as much or as little as you want. So I'm going to let this dry. And while that's drying, and these guys are drying, I'm going to work on their little feet. So I don't have the same size brush that you guys got, just because I was running low on brushes this month, so these are just left over from Watercolor Hour. So these two, while this is drying, I'll just let you know, you don't have to paint them red. You can paint them white. You can paint, mix your black and white to get gray, or your red and white to get pink. It's up to you. Or you can use acrylic paint if you have it at home. That's all this is acrylic paint. So now I'm going to do is decide where I want their little feet. And I'm going to use, you can get a pen or pencil and do it ahead of time so you're not adding it in paint, because then it's harder to deal with. Okay, so I've got my feet drawn there, and then I'm just going to add some black paint to make this darker. Okay, and since those are still drying, I can just go ahead with some of the other details. So I'm just going to start adding the snow. Just all over the place. Right, so my snow is done. And I'm going to go ahead and move these over and apply my twig. Whoops. It wasn't quite dry, but that's okay. So just apply your glue. If you've got a Q-tip or something, that'll make it a little bit easier. So just decide which part of the twig I want in front there, and I'm just going to stick my glue to the wood slice. And this does dry clear, so if you put too much, don't worry about it. So now I am adding a second coat of paint to these little ones. And I'm making this layer pretty thick. Okay, so these two are ready. Now, this would probably be a good time to stop and add the string, but it doesn't really matter whether we do that now or later, so it's up to you if you want to do it at the end. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that with a different slice of wood, so I can finish up my birds here. So go ahead and apply some glue, and you do need a decent amount just because these stones are kind of heavy. So we've got a pretty big blob of glue there, and just arrange it depending on where you drew the little feet. Alright, so now I'm going to give them some eyes and a beak. There are the eyes. And then if you want to draw this on first with a pencil, you can. I'm just going to risk it with my paint. And just do a little triangle. And that one. And this one, which I'm going to move. So these are done except for adding the string. So I will show you how to do that. And just set this aside to dry. And I'm going to show you how to pass your string through. So these holes, depending on which slice you got, may not be quite wide enough to pass two strings through. So I had some scissors here and I ended up just widening this hole a little bit. If that is not an option for you, that's okay. You can just put the one end through there. And then at this point you can just make a knot however you want. But the way that I did it on this one was to pass both ends through. So there's the first one, and here's the next one. And it may help if you have some tape at home to tape the ends so that this is not unraveling as you try to pass it through, because it will do that. It'll get caught on the wood. So I've got my two ends here. And then just pass both ends through this loop, and that's it. And this way, if you end up hanging it, it'll hang straight. And then just tie an end, tie a loop here at the end. So that's all done, and this is what you end up with. So hope you enjoyed today's craft. Keep an eye on our calendar for next month's activity. If you'd like to send me a photo, I always love to see those. I'll see you next month.